What is going on, everybody? We are hopping in here with a movement tutorial. We're going to be going through slide canceling. There's a couple different forms of it, as well as the bunny hop and just general tips for movement and whatnot. First time I learned slide canceling was from Attach's video. I'll link it below if you have not seen it yet. It's a good pro player perspective of how to do the movement. I'm going to go a little bit more in depth and show my PS4 controller, and I'll also include a clip of me doing the slide cancel with claw, so if you're learning how to play with that layout, it'll be a little bit easier. If you play without claw or play with a scuff or anything like that, it's pretty easy to adapt. But before we get into this, if you enjoy, make sure to leave a like and subscribe and do all that fun stuff down below. And yeah, let's get into it. So before, one big change, you can change slide behavior to tap. This is a recent change for me. I've been using hold because it doesn't make that much of a difference, but you'll be able to go a little bit faster with tap as the slide behavior. Everything else should be pretty much fine, so we'll get right into it. So first one you're going to learn to start out with is just straight up circle, circle, X. So it'll take a little bit of time to get used to how long you have to wait after you start sprinting before you can get into the slide canceling, because if you go too soon, you're just gonna straight up crouch like that. But you have to wait a little bit, get to the actual slide canceling aspect of it, and then you're good to go. So basically, you start sprinting. Once you hit that peak point of your sprint, you hit circle, as you see on the bottom right. You hit circle, circle, X. It's that easy. And so if you have a different button layout or anything like that, you're just gonna crouch, crouch again, and then hit the jump button. And so all together, it'll just look like that. And you can adapt this, so what this is gonna be good for is for cameraing around a corner, or especially onto a head glitch like that. But a lot of pros just do this as they're running from one place to another because it makes your character a little more difficult to shoot. Essentially gives them decent timing in terms of pulling their gun up, so instead of having to go out from sprinting, they'll be able to just already be there. As you see, since I'm new to this tap behavior for sliding, I'm not hitting every single one because I don't have that down quite yet, but I have it done pretty well. So yeah, full on sprint, circle, circle, X. So for me, that's here. Circle, circle, X. It's really not that quick. It seems a lot faster in game than it necessarily is with your fingers. If you're learning from claw, you don't even necessarily have to be on a controller to practice. If you just want to sit anywhere and just practice hitting threes like that. That'll be more beneficial when we get into the next one. This is one that Attach showed more recently, and it's to get an improved sprint out time. So it's the same thing, you're still doing three, but you're aiming in before you hit X. So in slow motion you'll be running, hit circle, circle, aim, X. So with my hands, circle, circle, aim, X. And this is something you could practice. If you don't have that down initially and just need a little bit of time, you can just practice like that. Right, right, left, right. Right, right, left, right. Right, right, left, right. And make sure you're keeping that second finger. If you aim with your middle finger, you can do that too. But right, right, left, right, and make sure you're holding down the left when you're done. You can do whatever you want with your right. So that's a way you could practice if you're not necessarily at a controller, or if it's harder for you to get down. The aiming one's gonna be one that you're gonna be wanting to use a little more if you're like ready for opponents to be somewhere. Like if you're going up to a heady, you'll want to use that one. Because if you just normal slide cancel up to it, like that, you're not gonna be like as fast as aiming in. I'll show you what it looks like. So here's what it looks like if I were to just do the slide cancel and then aim in. Is that? But if I were to do it with the aim incorporated to it, a little bit faster. It's minuscule with a gun like an MP5, where there's already a fast aim-in time, but on a gun like an M4, you'll be able to notice the difference for sure. And that's here. So instead of this, which is the first one, oops, right there, aiming in as part of the slide cancel will look like this. Much faster, much faster. One more time. That's without it, and this is with it. So I'm gonna do it a couple times with the aiming in just so you can see. Just keeps that slide going for a little bit longer. So really what you're gonna wanna do is just go into a public match and try this out over and over again until you're used to it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope this was able to help. Let me know if it did help or if you have any other useful pointers for learning it and perfecting it. Other general movement tips like bunny hopping, especially with claw, is super easy because all you gotta do is jump and then keep jumping. Sometimes you'll dud it and that's okay. You don't always get that perfect bounce like there compared to the first time. It's just something to do for like major cameraing. And one last helpful tip, this isn't even necessarily one for like gunfights or for cameraing people, it's just for general movement, but knowing when to cancel your slide so that you line up with an object. Instead of using other methods to stop sliding, you can aim in as well, but let's say you're using stem or something and can't stop, you gotta press circle again. So being able to cancel your slide whenever you want, even if you want it to be that quick and stay behind cover, is really good. So if you want to go just here, you don't necessarily have to even stand up. But being able to time out when you want it to stop so that you're immediately on the head glitch, whereas if you keep going, you might not be exactly where you want to be. And then stand up after that. And if you can perfect this, it will really put you at a competitive edge and people won't be able to really expect where your movement's coming from. And at this point in the game, it's definitely something you need to get down if you want to compete.